morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to season 4 and episode number 437?
Six.
Six of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Yeah. Today, recording day is Tuesday, July 30th, 2024, and it is going to be a nice day here at the Beaver Lodge, potentially quite hot. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver A, and with me, as always, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. A big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. We have... I'm not sure what kind of show we're going to have for you today because I'm not feeling my best. But Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health doing today, sir?
Well, sir, my mental health, I think, is pretty good. I've felt better. My stomach off a little bit this morning. I don't know why, it just is. But yeah, mental health, I think, is good. I'm just, I could go with a settled stomach. So I'm having a cup of tea this morning, which will hopefully help.
Sitting here. Water, lemon, ginger, honey, as per recommendations of some people said that would help. But yeah, I spent the whole night up.
Oh, really?
I've been feeling like, well, I must have slept at some point, but I started feeling this at around 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Just a little upset, but nothing was really happening. And then I got time to go to bed, and well, let's just say things happened and messes were made. So I've been up all night, pretty much, and I'm not feeling. I don't know how long it's supposed to take for things to start feeling better, but I haven't started feeling better. I'm feeling worse. So I'm low energy and not my usual beavery self. So please accept my apologies for being a little more subdued. Hopefully, I'll be able to get through the show without having to run to the bathroom.
Good to know.
I think I've spent easily about 3 hours in the bathroom since midnight. So it's been a weird day so far. All right. In the news, there is a lot going on. Of course, we can start with the Olympics. We've had our first multiple medal day, which was very cool. And we also have our first multiple medalist as well, and our first gold medals. So the day started off yesterday with a bronze medal in the pool from the 10-meter synchronized diving platform. But then the day got better because at the judo competitions, Canada, I think it was, won its eighth medal total in judo since the Olympic competitions started, but the first one ever
In gold.
in that's gold. And that was Jessica Deguchi, who is a current world champion. And I watched, I know I have watched judo before because I remember watching Nicholas Gill's bronze medal match way back when, but I hadn't watched it in a while. Holy crap, judo's fun. It's really a lot of fun.
It's not, people think martial arts and they think kicking and punching and karate chopping and that sort of thing, but it's not. Judo is like a wrestling sort
Yes,
it's art.
Grappling and holds and flips and floor work and stuff. And I don't understand all the rules, but it's like it's a 4-minute period. And if you get something called an ippon, which I'm guessing is a pin, you win automatically. And then there are a whole bunch of other takedown moves for which you get points. But if there are no points like this, you go to something that's called golden score. And that's like overtime in hockey and whatnot. And it just goes until either someone scores a point or gets 3 yellow cards, which is a disqualification. And you can get yellow cards for not being combative. So for being passive or just being dead weight or running away or not initiating attacks. So the Canadians had, there were 2 Canadians. There was Jessica Deguchi, and her semifinal was against a French woman. And it was brutal.
Yeah, it was. I watched it. It was really brutal.
So it's like, it got to the point where the matches last so long is that they had the energy to do a takedown, but not then to flip because it was too much, and they were tired. But that was one heck of a match. And then we got to the gold medal match, which also I think went to golden score. And Deguchi won both of them by getting the other her 2 opponents in those matches to get to the 3 yellow cards. But there was another Canadian yesterday, and I wish I could remember his name. His first name is Arthur, and I will mangle his last name if I try to remember it. But he was competing, Margeladon, competing, and along the way he had the eventual gold medal winner, who's also the world champion. And their match was 4 minutes, and it went an extra 6 minutes into golden score. Yes, he gave the guy everything he could handle, lost the match, and then he was in the repechage. And if he won the repechage, he got a chance to fight for bronze. And he got to that one, and I don't know what the other guy did, but he just came at him and flipped him with an ippon in 40 seconds or less or something. And the Canadian guy was just devastated, of course. And then in the final, in that one, the guy from Armenia who won, who had fought 10 minutes against the Canadian guy, also had about a 10-minute fight for the final. I do not know where this guy had the energy, but it was one heck of a match. So judo, really, really interesting. And of course, Summer McIntosh took gold in the 400 IM. She had an over 5-second lead over her closest competitor.
Yeah, it was like a hair under 6 seconds, which is massive in any race.
Which is about the same lead that Leon Marchand from France had in the 400 the day before, because we talked about it, and I talked about it very quickly at the end and said it was really impressive. So she basically did the same thing. So 2 gold, 1 bronze, and a 4th place, Mary Sophie Harvey, in the 200-meter freestyle. She was swimming in lane 8, which is really bad because you get all the wake going in, and also not to our advantage because she has a slower first 100 and then a faster last 100, so you get caught in the wake if you have a slower first 100. But she was at sixth spot at the 100-meter mark and climbed up to 4th, shaving a lot of time off her best personal time. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, performance of her lifetime. 4th place, nothing to be ashamed of when you do your best performance ever. But it was just like, so close. Today, the triathlon event has been canceled because they had heavy rains. And even though the city has invested $1.5 billion in wastewater management systems, huge reservoir tanks for all the water to go in, when it rains, because that's what happens when it rains. Then the sewage system backs up and then releases into the sand. So the bacteria levels were too high. So it was canceled today. They're saying that if it does not clear up before Friday, that they're just going to cancel the swim portion and make it a duathlon, which will probably not make happy those triathletes for whom the swim portion is their strongest leg. It seems that for the open water swim, however, they might do it in the same basin where the canoe kayak slalom is happening. So that will happen. So we'll see about that. And then, of course, with regards to Team Canada, it seems that the Special Olympic Court will be hearing the appeal from Team Canada about the 6-point deduction today. And of course, I think, we're not going to get an answer before the end, I would assume, because they have to deliberate, that we won't get an answer before tomorrow's match against Colombia, which is still much win. But it will happen. The Canadian
it's an
team
absolute must-win for them to stay relevant in the tournament.
If they win, they do go ahead, because at that point, I assume that France is going to defeat New Zealand, which will give it 6 points. So it would leave Canada and Colombia tied at 3, and Canada having won the match, I assume, would be the differential to send them forward. Not sure, because they haven't completed the whole investigation. Not sure if Canadians do win that match and then get to go on, whether or not that reopens, allows the IOC the chance to consider whether or not they will revoke the gold medal from last time, because that's what everybody's afraid of. That if the team happens to make it through and get past the roadblocks the IOC and FIFA put it in its way, that they'll say, okay, well, now that you've done that, let's punish you in another way. Because the timing of the dates are all such that it's after the matches are played. So
the hearing takes place today because they have appealed the 6-point deduction. So we'll find out probably later today or tomorrow what happens. So.
Yeah, and they have not appealed the coaching suspensions, however, which was a smart move and a very strategic move, because the coaches did what the coaches did.
Yeah.
The coaches did what the coaches did, and that sanction needs to stay.
They're just trying to revoke the 6-point deduction, because the players, we are told, had nothing to do with it. So
yes, and it is also how do you put it? Not a proportional punishment to other incidents of the like that have happened in the past. So it's creating a very, very, very new precedent. But we'll see what happens with that. For the team, the important part, however, is to just go on the field and do their best and get the win, and then try to focus on that and let the rest happen as it will. So that's what we got for the Olympics today. But yesterday I was a very happy beaver in my living room, getting to stand up twice because they were playing our song. And yes, I am such a geek that I do that when they play the O Canada. When somebody wins a gold medal at the Olympics, I actually stand up in my living room for it. I know nobody sees it. I know the athletes don't see it, but I do it anyway. All right. In other news, by-elections have been called. There are 2 of them that have been called. One, I believe, in La Salle, Aymar Verdun, I believe, is the name of the electoral riding in Montreal, and I believe that the other one is in Manitoba. Yes, La Salle, Aymar Verdun, and not sure which one. Elmwood Transcona, I believe, is the one in Manitoba. There's a little controversy for La Salle Aymar Verdun because the Liberal Party decided to parachute in a candidate, Montreal City, or I'm not sure if it's current Montreal City Council or former, named Laura Palestini. So that is raised a little hackles. I'm not sure if that was a wise decision on the part of the Prime Minister, because again, the typical narrative, and it's already starting, right? Because they were saying from Toronto St. Paul's, if he loses this one, then he absolutely has to step down. So they're saying about these ones again the same thing. If he loses these ones, then he really, 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 really has to step
Why?
down.
He's not running in those ridings. Why should he? Like, this is stupid. This is just stupid.
I know.
Unless you live in his riding, you cannot vote for Prime Minister Trudeau. You can't vote for Justin Trudeau unless you live in his riding, period. That's it. That's all.
Yeah. So, but they're saying he really has to, we've got the same thing going on in the United States in Canada as we had in the United States. The media is tired of covering the old story. Because we've already covered him in a couple of elections before. It's like, we want something new. We're bored. We want something fresh. So, the media in Canada, like it was in the United States, is trying to orchestrate some type of soft coup, trying to make it inevitable that he has to go somehow. However, by him parachuting a candidate in, if he does lose, that will add to the narrative. It's like, not only did he lose, but he lost with his chosen candidate. He really has to go now. The NDP believes that they have a crack at this, and they've picked a quality candidate. Should give the Liberals a run for their money. So yes, if in that electoral district the message wants to be sent, voters could and elect an NDP MP there. In Elmwood, Transcona, the battle, I think, will probably be more between the Conservative and the NDP candidate. And their Jagmeet Singh and team have picked someone named Colin Reynolds, who's a local electrician. And that seat has been vacant since Daniel Blakey left federal politics to serve as special advisor to the New Democrat Premier Rob Canoe. So it is currently a New Democrat held seat. So yeah, and let's see, and apparently somebody said, I'm seeing here that there's one in Langley Abbotsford. So I don't know if he called all three by-elections, but if he did, then the Liberals named a former MP, John Aldegg, as their nominee. The New Democrats named former federal Liberal MP John Aldegg there to run. So we'll see what happens with those as well. I apologize, kids. I'm a little disjointed today. It's kind of hard to focus.
These things do happen. I know what it's like. Not more than once. Many times I've been there.
Yes. So it seems the by-election is scheduled for September 16th. I will have more precisions for you in the coming days, kids and cubs, if I happen to get some of those facts wrong. As you know, we issue gentle corrections on ourselves. So I will monitor that to be sure that we get that the information is 100% and totally confirmed, because right now I'm not clear on if it was because originally I heard it was 2, and what I'm reading here seems to indicate other things. And they're also talking about someone named a former mayor of La Marche named Lise Garon, who's hitting the hustings in Jonquière, Quebec. So I don't know if there's something there going on as well. But I'm not totally up on it yet at the moment.
I used to go to school in Jonquière. In Jonquière. Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Before I graduated.
Oh,
it
neat.
used to be called Arvida, and then there was a small Jonquière, and then they merged them, and now they just call it Jonquière. They no longer call it Arvida or Arvida. It's gone.
Okay.
It's the Alcan has a massive aluminium plant there. It's the largest in the world, actually. And there is an entire bridge in that area that is made out of aluminium. Yes, it's the largest aluminum bridge in the world.
Okay. I do have some additional information here with regard to the appointment of Laura Palestini, according to iPolitics. Says that there were 3 aspiring candidates who, quote, spent months campaigning only to be shunted aside. And one of those contenders, Lori Morrison, described the move as, quote, anti-democratic 100%. Apparently, it seems that the nomination was being hotly contested. And there was another candidate, who was a local marketing executive named Christopher Benninger, who said, quote, he was in shock at Trudeau's decision to forego the nomination process and handpick a candidate, saying it was not right and demotivating. And then he said, I'm going to be shrewd. And when asked how he felt about it, we didn't improve our chances, he told Canadian Press. I'll leave it at that. So some hurt feelings there. In Elmwood, Transcona, Colin Reynolds, who's the NDP candidate, is a proud member of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. It seems that iPolitics is predicting that it will be a fight because the Conservative... sorry. That doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Sorry. What's written? I'm reading what's written. It doesn't make sense. Sorry. There must have been a typo somewhere. Late last week, Liberals announced that their party would be represented on the ballot in Elmwood, Transcona by Ian McIntosh, quote, a retired teacher and union leader who has lived, worked, and volunteered in Elmwood, Transcona for over 30 years. And on the ballot, New Democrat Leila Dance and Green Party Representative Nick Geddert. Here's what we got about Lise Garon. Another new addition to the New Democrat lineup, former La Marche Mayor Lise Garon, who will hit the hustings in Jonquière, a riding while traditionally a Bloc Québécois stronghold, did elect a New Democrat, Karine Trudel, in 2015, although reverted back to the Bloc Québécois in 2019. Liberal Aldag, as I mentioned, got the green light to run for the BC New Democrats in Langley Abbots for this fall. So that would be a provincial by-election, not a federal one. That's why I was confused. And finally, Ottawa City Councillor Matthew Luloff has dropped his bid to run for the Conservatives in Ottawa-Orleans after being charged with 2 counts of impaired driving earlier this year, with the party telling CTV News that he had resigned his candidacy on July 10th due to a, quote, personal matter. So that's what's going on with some of the by-elections.
Yeah, personal matter beat that. Oopsies.
Yeah, indeed. In loudmouth convoy news, final arguments are being made today in court for the trial about what went down at Coots. Only 2 people are being tried at this point. I know that there were 7 people originally involved in Coots, so I don't know if they have separate trials or something. But the 2 that are on trial, the case has been going on for 7 weeks. They are accused of conspiring to murder police. The prosecution has argued that they wanted to start a revolution and were prepared to use violence against the RCMP in order to do it. The defense has argued that the 2 were worrying about losing their individual rights and freedoms, and even though they were armed to the teeth, most definitely assuredly did not have any plans whatsoever to harm police. No. I believe one of them in this testimony said that he had his weapons with him in case he needed to make a break for it and run to the mountains for some reason.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. No. Also, a couple of days ago, the closing arguments wrapped up in the Pat King convoy protest trial.
Now they're whining because he's in breach of his bail because his surety has said, no, you're out. You're out of here. Because his surety was his girlfriend's mother who put her home up as collateral. Collateral or is it collateral? Bail bond, I guess.
Not collateral, but it's surety.
So he broke. He cheated on his girlfriend, and now she and her mother are like, we're out of here. We want nothing to do with him. They're like, well, they kicked him out. But yeah, because he behaved as he does. And as a result, he is now in breach. So I think he's turning himself in today, if memory serves. from what I read.
Probably.
So yeah, he'll be
Yeah.
back in the pokey for a little bit, and he has no one to
Yeah.
blame but himself.
But himself, because for some reason, um, radical, weird, convoy, wacko people, especially the men, can't seem to keep it in their pants. Dwayne Leach, Tamara Leach and Dwayne Leach are getting divorced because Dwayne couldn't keep it in his pants. Pat King couldn't keep it in his pants long enough to keep his ass out of jail. Remember Tommy
Yeah.
Robinson when he arrived in town? He was ran away to a massage parlor for a while, but not before allegedly getting coked up and releasing the dragon with alcohol. And then if we look south of us, I mean, Frumpy also can't keep it in his pants. So I don't know what it is with these people. Seems to be a general lack of personal discipline.
You think maybe a little bit?
Yeah. So according to the CBC, closing arguments have wrapped up in the criminal trial for one of the leaders of what has become known the Freedom Convoy, and a decision is now expected in October. Yeah, if he's going to be there until such time as the decision comes along, unless he can find another surety, yeah, August, September, sometime in October. So he'll be there for at least another 2 months. Pat King has pleaded not guilty to charges of mischief, intimidation, counseling, and other charges for his role in the 2022 protests, which led to large swaths of the city's core being gridlocked by trucks and other vehicles for nearly 3 weeks. Throughout his trial in Ottawa, the Crown used evidence from social media, police, and residents to show King played a key role in bringing protesters to the city and then encouraged them to stay after the authorities ordered them to leave in February 2022. Prosecutors say the Freedom Convoy as a whole was a group mischief and argue King played an active role in it, significantly impacting citizens' lawful use and enjoyment of property. Quote, "This case is about Mr. King's conduct and how he chose to express his views, which he's entitled to have, about the COVID-19 mandates, and how that manner of expression consisted of intimidation and mischief," said Crown Prosecutor Emma Loignon-Giroux during closing submissions. And this line is very, very, very important because every time these people talk, they say, "I'm being persecuted for having different
No,
views."
you're not.
No, you are not. You're allowed to have all the different views you want, no matter how vile, disgusting, weird they are. It's what you do and what you say in furtherance of those views or
And that's where it
beliefs
changes.
that
Yes.
matters. Yes. So you can have all the thoughts you want. And this is really funny because that Tracy Foran person who I mentioned yesterday, who's not the CBC candidate, but want to be CBC candidate, who's just an awful, awful,
Oh
disgusting
yeah, she's
human being.
terrible.
I had another run-in with her
She
yesterday,
blocked you, I see.
and yeah, she blocked me on the show account, and then she blocked me on my
Oh.
personal account. But yes, but yesterday's thing was, she had said something like, "I would say what it is I think deserves to happen to the Prime Minister, but it would be inappropriate to say it." So that is some very veiled, violent, stochastic speech. And pointed that out and says, well, there's a big difference between thoughts and actions. Under the law, yes, you're allowed to have all the thoughts you want, can't do all the actions you want. But in your soul, there is no difference. And if you are having inappropriate, if you know you are saying that there are things you think the Prime Minister deserves to have happen to them, but they would be inappropriate to say, and that is what is in your soul, I don't care about difference between thoughts and deeds, because if that's what's in your soul, it motivates everything you say. It motivates everything you do. And some of it just cannot help but seep out. So you want to understand why it is that she is just a total hot mess and awful person when interacting with everybody online. It's because in her soul, she believes that people who do not have the same political views as her deserve certain things to happen to them that would be inappropriate to say out loud.
She's a really despicable human being.
Okay.
Just despicable,
so,
period.
Yes. I tried to end the conversation twice. I ended it with, "Your personal mileage may vary." She continued. I tried to end it by indicating that I was not interested in pursuing anything anymore with her. And at that point, she turned. She decided to look on my feed and pick a couple of tweets and then come back and make an accusation about me, but of course without taking the time to screen cap the tweet to prove it. And that's when I pointed out to her that whiplash, changing the subject so quickly to move it away from your behavior to try to put the other person on the back foot, is classic abuser behavior. She did not like that.
Of course not.
And that's what ended up getting me blocked. Because the first two tweets, I wasn't actually talking to her, I was talking about her. And she chose to engage me. So I responded. And in every single one, I responded absolutely politely. And when I made the comment, she made the comment about me. So like us, I just said laugh. No. But then another tweet, I said to onlookers, so not talking to her, describing the behavior, doing the media and political literacy, social media literacy thing that I do. Yes. And yeah, she didn't like that at all. So I did something I've never done. I actually wrote a tweet to the Writing Association for which she is competing for the nomination, and pointed out, posted that tweet she had about that lady who she was chastising for having administered palliative care. Well, sorry, she wasn't chastising. The lady that said, "Hey, I administered palliative care," and then said, "What? Do you think that makes you better than me?" I said, "You have a candidate here who is mentally unstable, and she become your candidate, your nominee. She's going to be in the news often and bring a lot of it. You might want to handle this now." And I wrote it as a recent member of the party who bought a membership to vote in the leadership race. See, that $10 investment turned out to be a pretty good thing.
Paying off
Dividends.
I have something for you that you're going to be shocked at.
I will. So, but let me finish this one. So, kids and
No,
cubs,
keep going.
if you want to go, and I normally never do this because this is not a gang up, but Tracy Foran, TracyForan 4, the number 4 ESS, is her Twitter feed. If you would like to report her, I have reported her for harassment because I've let her know many times that I was not interested in pursuing a conversation. She kept on coming at me and then trying to attack me personally. And I've also reported her for violent speech, for suggesting that there are things that would be inappropriate to say that should be happened to the Prime Minister, and if they do, he would deserve them. If you would like to do that as well, might be a good way to get her Twitter account suspended so she could stop harassing Canadians. And also, if you would like to look up, write to the Writing Association on Twitter and saying, you have a problem here.
Big problem.
It might be, like I said, the best way to get involved in politics is at the writing level to make sure you want better candidates, make sure that bad candidates are weeded out as quickly as possible. She's a very, 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 very bad candidate. I have never said this aloud, and I have never done anything like this ever before. She is that bad. And I'm a really political junkie.
And here's the thing. It's the way she talks and acts and the way she responds to people and shouts them down. She's a complete narcissist to begin with. Total narcissist, which is in line with the leader of the party. But party, being that it is realizing, some of these things are beginning to backfire on us. So they're backing away from some of their anger. She's ramped it up. I mean, that party is not going to put up with her for much longer, because even though she's not a candidate, she wants to be one, but they're going to just admonish her altogether at some point, because the way she carries on It's not how you want a political party to look. You're bullying Canadians. And that's what she is. She's a bully and can't take it. Even when you show her the truth, when you tell her the truth, you give her the facts, she still denies it. Total narcissist. Now, here's where I'm going to drop one on you. Tavi G just sent this to me. I didn't see it until a few minutes ago. And this one is, well, let's watch. For those of us in the Ottawa Valley, you'll know exactly who this is in a moment. And then we'll discuss on the other side of this 52-second video.
Hi, I'm Carol Ann Meehan. You may remember me from my years of delivering the news at CJOH CTV Ottawa. Well, today I am watching the news, and like so many of you, I am worried about how Liberal government policies are hurting Canadians. They have increased the capital gains tax. They're talking about taxing the equity in our home. We're paying an expensive carbon tax. They've messed up the immigration system, so it's unfair to newcomers to this country and to us as well. These are just some of the reasons that I've decided to seek the Conservative nomination in Ottawa West Nepean. I want to be part of a strong Conservative team that will work towards solutions that will improve our lives. If you'd like to support me, you can do so by buying a membership to the party. Simply go to the website on the screen. I look forward to meeting you at the door. Hi, I'm Carol Ann.
So she's lost the plot.
Yep. The immigration thing, by the way, big lie.
Big lie.
The immigration thing is because of a few things. One, massive staffing shortages. Two, because immigration is not just immigration, right? It's the whole thing, right? They count the temporary foreign workers and students and temporary foreign students and whatnot. All of that fits under that. Refugees and asylum. So when they talk about immigration, they talk about all of it, right? They use immigration as one big thing, but they don't distinguish between all the various forms of immigration that we have.
Of course not.
And the reason why we had massive student immigration is because provincial premiers have decided for a very long time that post-secondary education shouldn't be financed through core budgetary funding.
Yeah, they want foreign students to do it, and that's what's happening.
Yes. So it's the provincial premiers that say, we don't have enough people for the jobs, and we need more students to keep funding the universities. So the federal government says, hey, premiers, you need that? Let's help you out. The federal government was doing what the premiers asked.
Yeah, so I mean, look, this is here's a screen cap from her. As Tabby G just pointed, and here's the screen cap of the tweet. Doesn't the Emergencies Act give the feds power to crack down? Passed into law in 1988. It is meant for public welfare and public order emergencies that we have.
Yep.
She was on the police board at the time, by the way.
Yep. What a difference 2 years make. So yeah, suddenly has a whole other new set of values, it would appear.
Well, and speaking of Matt Luloff, a pair of city councillors calling for military aid in Ottawa protest response. City councillors Carol Ann Meehan and Matt Luloff joined City News, the Rob Snow Show, to explain to a motion that they will bring to City Council that would explore using the National Defence Act rather than the Federal Emergencies Act to allow the military to provide support to law enforcement working to police the occupation of Ottawa's downtown core by protest.
Okay, I take that back. Then she hasn't changed her positions because that's a fucking stupid idea.
Mm-hmm.
We've said this on the show already. Because the whole reason they were there was to try to provoke the government into overreacting so that they would have video, fodder, and martyr narrative to take this over because they're accelerationists. They want the violence. They want the Revolutionary War. So being on the police board and saying, hey, we should bring military people and military equipment here to do law enforcement, literally gift wraps those people the visuals that they wanted.
Yep.
So, yeah.
For those of you
total lack of
outside of the
discernment
Ottawa
and
Valley,
judgment.
For those of you outside of the Ottawa Valley, Carol Ann Meehan was the co-host of CJOH News along with Max Keeping, which
For
was
a long time.
Almost 30 years. Almost 30
Yes.
years. Might have been 30 years, actually. And CJOH Evening News was the Valley's newscast. I mean, it had the largest audience by far. It generated a lot of revenue for the station because it was massive. Yeah, she's lost the plot completely. That whole, she doesn't even, she's not that smart. She's not.
Well,
'Cause
no,
she
if she
doesn't
thinks that
understand.
if she thinks military should be brought in to do law enforcement, mm-mm,
Well,
mm-mm.
let's I mean,
against a bunch of people who are stochastic
she talks
and
about
are
this,
dying for that visual.
yeah,
No.
she's talking about the carbon tax and the capital gains tax, and I'm like, the capital gains tax affects 0.13% of the population.
Yes, in any one given year.
Yeah.
In any one given year, because there are some people that can be affected as on a one-time basis if they happen to have,
That's
a
right.
big bill.
And that capital gains tax does not apply to your principal residence. So the
Yes.
equity you have in the home that you're living in that you want to sell, it doesn't apply to you.
Yes. And then the second thing where the first time I said no is when she said they're talking about imposing, like taxing the sale of your primary residence. No,
No,
no.
that's not even
The
on the plate.
conservatives say that every single election for the last 3 or 4 elections. It has never been true. It has never been considered. It hasn't been thought about. It is never true. It's just something they say.
Yeah. Well,
Conservatives say a lot of things.
they lie a lot.
A lot.
And just before we head out, because we are running a little bit late, I'm just going to give you this headline this is from 2 years ago, but it's something that you need to remember because we've talked about it before and we will talk about it again because this is a fact and we need to keep bringing this up. Members of controversial and secretive religious sect funded third-party group behind anti-Trudeau ads. Election Canada's records suggest over a dozen individuals donated nearly $48,000 to a third-party group over a time span of 48 hours.
40,000, sorry.
Third-party group? The Plymouth Brethren Christian Church, the PBCC, also known as the Exclusive Brethren, is a religious sect with only 50,000 members around the world, particularly in the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. In Canada, the Brethren are believed to have fewer than 10,000 members. But who is their lawyer? Oh, right. Gerald Chipper.
Yes.
The rumored birth father of Pierre Poilievre. Rumored.
Yeah. So a group of 10,000 people
are trying
to take control over the entire country.
Yes.
To dominate 40 million of us. Well, and now that article's from 2022 for people who are at home and weren't able to see it, just so you know. But yeah, it's all out there in the open. They're doing this stuff.
Well, and it's we say a group of 10,000, but here's the thing. It's not even, there's 10,000 members in Canada.
Yes. There's
only about a dozen of them, or half a dozen of them that are running it all. The rest are just minions in the party who, in the sect, in the cult. And we've spoken to some who have escaped it. We've spoken to David Wallace about what they've tried to get him to do.
Right.
So remember this, there's the same leaders of the PBCC, the Plymouth Brethren Christian Church, are the ones who sat in the front row when Stephen Harper was sworn in as PM on their Bible. They sat there in the front row. They put him in that position. And they'll try and get Poilievre there if they can. And guess what? This time, they're not going to be incremental.
Oh, no. No. This is the end game. They're running the end game.
Marcy McDonald wrote all about it. I have the book.
Yeah.
It's real. It's absolutely real.
Got Kit Pete here says, whatever happened with church and state rules that they should not intertwine. Oh, that was just another thing they said.
Yeah.
So, all right, kits and cubs. That's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us and we love making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. If you would like to support us, you can by subscribing to our pod page, sponsored by the Ray Girl, podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words. When you click subscribe, when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, we will get something to you. It will come directly to you. Apologies for there being another stop in new material coming out. With the renovations, we actually had our internet access cut for about 2 days. So I was not able to research or listen to anything other than on the overall network, which really eats up my data. So my mobile, my away from home data. So Yes, but hopefully we've got that fixed now, and hopefully I'll be able to get back to that soon enough. If you would like to support us in other ways, make sure you go to our YouTube page, True North Eager Beaver, and make like Elaine and smash our buttons, like, share, and subscribe. That makes us very happy. And if you'd like to support us in other ways, the QR code by Mr. Grizzly's Head brings you to our coffee page, which is our tip jar, coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, no hyphen between them, just one full word, Eager Beaver. And there you will find our tip jar, and we appreciate any donation that you can make. Everything goes back into the show because democracy is something that you do. I've got the thing for you. The Twitter address for the Riding Association for Tracy Ferron is @CPP_ESS. Send them a little note. If you can, I no longer have access to screen caps from her since I'm blocked unless I go offline and go to Twitter and then look her up. But if you do and you see some of the things, include a couple of examples. That wouldn't be that would be helpful. But let them know that they need to clean some house and do a little internal monitoring when it comes to this particular candidate. All right. It can be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourself. Mr. Grizzly, do you have any words of wisdom?
Well, if you're not feeling good and your tummy's kind of rumbling, if you can get yourself a nice hot mug of ginger tea, that might help. Because right now, I don't know if you've heard about how they talk about gut health has to do with your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard that before?
Yes, I have.
And it's true linked. Because when your stomach is off, you're not feeling good about yourself, number one, because physically, emotionally, and then, of course, you can't properly concentrate on work or things that you need to do and get done and achieve because you're just feeling so terrible. So your gut is related to your head. So try and get your gut quickly as fixed as possible. A nice hot mug of ginger tea, maybe with a squeeze of lemon, fix you up pretty quickly.
Some honey too.
Honey's good too, but that's more for the throat, I think. But
yeah, probably, and just for the taste. All right, I guess that's it for now. Mr. Grizzly, please roll the credits.
I can do that if I can.
Or cue the cock, I should say.
Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Right, just a little quick Easter egg, kits and cubs. Up in Jasper, they're working on a re-entry plan. The municipality is going to announce it relatively soon, but they're just waiting on certain conditions to be in place. So if you're out there, just hold tight. And thank you to South Africa and Mexico, who have sent firefighters. There are 100 from Mexico that are should be arriving soon, and
they're already here.
South Africa as well. Yeah, they've already here.
Yeah,
South
Mexico
Africa
got here, I think, on Friday, and South Africa arrived yesterday, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I think they might be sending. I think South Africa may have sent some in 2 waves, actually. So, thank you. All right, have a great day, everyone.
All right, I will see you later.